According to this report, nearly 500,000 children between the ages of 11 and 16 have gambled in the past week. Of those, 55,000 children were considered to be problem gamblers.
Win, 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 win. You know, you're going to win at this, you're going to win at that, and everybody gets in that, we're going to win.
I literally got my pay, lost it in Betfred, come back up to the work computer, took a Wonga loan and lost that in the same 45-50 minute period.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I was getting up in the morning betting on, off the top of my head, Lithuanian under 20 basketball matches.
You're 500 quid down gambling. If I have another winner, I can clear all that.
They make money by preying on the weakest.
And on a Friday, I knew, say I wanted to put some money on the game, I'd borrow £100 off someone for that and lose it.
You're watching the game, you get to half time, and suddenly every advert's like, put a bet on, put a bet on, put a bet on, put a bet on.
You go insane.
Every single week at the football, like the first thing I'd want to do when I got there is bookies, bookies, bookies. And that's not just put football bets, it's just a play.
A typical British person last year spent £3.60 on gambling in a month and £2.58 on fruit.
There should be more done for kids.
Back in the day where it was £100 a spin, you can lose £500 in 3 minutes and
So I never thought I'd make a video like this, and many of you will know that from my coming back video I mentioned that I had some problems with gambling, and it's something I wanted to speak about in a bit more detail because I think that there's a bit of stigma around this topic. It's a bit taboo, and I feel like it affects more people, and a lot of people don't speak about it, and it's something that I want to bring awareness to, and I want more people to speak about, because I think it's such a dangerous sort of, I don't know what the right word is, dangerous path to go on. It's something that I struggled with, and I didn't realise how much it would take over my life. So it first started for me when I had £5 left in my bank account, and I deposited that £5 to a betting app, and I put it on a 66-1 bet. And if you know anything about gambling or sports betting or whatever, you'll know how unlikely that is to happen. And it came through, 120 quid, just like that. And that gave me this buzz, and I hadn't worked for that money. It required minimal effort, and I truly believe if I had never have won that bet, none of this would have happened. Because of my 66-1 win that originally got me into betting, I thought I could win loads of money with just putting a couple of quid on these 50-1, 100-1, 200-1 bets that on the Champions League that were like corners and cards and over a certain amount of goals, and they just weren't gonna win because I got so lucky with my first bet, but obviously I didn't realise that. It was around the start of FIFA 21 that I started editing for another YouTuber, It's James, and with a new job brings a new paycheck, and I'd never really had this before. I'd never really had a significant amount of money coming to my bank account, and then suddenly, bang, I've got X amount of money in the bank account at the end of the month, and I'd never had that kind of money before, and I didn't really know what to do with it, so I spent a lot of it on gambling. So relatively early on, I discovered ACCA accumulators where you can put money on multiple teams to win, and I won big on this again. I was completely focused on gambling. My whole day revolved around gambling. It was the only thing I was thinking about in my mind, and I just began putting more and more money on more and more bets. I remember my first big win, which was around £300 on a Champions League ACCA, and I remember telling my dad, I've just won £300, and he said to me at the time something that I should have listened to.
I remember when you started, actually, you were quite successful with your bets early on, and I was actually a bit worried then, and I remember saying to you clearly, yes, you've won money now. I think you won about £300 on one bet early on. The bookies always come out on top in the end. That's the way the whole system is set up, and actually what they want you to do is win early, because that gives you the sense that you can be successful with gambling. But the way the whole system is designed and odds are organised is that ultimately the winner is the bookie. They're a business. Why do you think they're still in business? Because they make money.
So at this point, it was still fun. I still enjoyed doing it, and I thought it was funny. I was up until 1, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., which isn't really a change to my sleeping pattern. But I was betting on these sort of Colombian league games, Brazilian league games, Uruguay league games, and I just had no idea about the games. So it was just seen as funny that I was just able to earn a bit of money. Stupid o'clock in the morning off games that I didn't really have any understanding of. I didn't know many of the teams in these leagues, but that's beside the point. It was when it didn't become fun when I was chasing losses. So when I didn't win a funny bet or a fun bet on £5 for next team to score in this Colombian league game, or there to be 2 or more goals in a Brazilian league game. When it didn't come through, I started chasing losses. So another £5, another £10, another £5, another £10, another £15 to try and get my money back. When I'd lose, it would make me angry and upset. My day would essentially be ruined, and that's how much I was hooked. And before I knew it, putting more and more bets on, I'd spent my entire month's paycheck on gambling. I remember feeling totally embarrassed and not feeling like I could tell anyone, never mind my parents.
Daniel has got quite, I would say, quite an obsessive personality, which obviously links into his OCD tendencies, which I admit that I get as well, because I am a little bit similar to that. So whatever he gets into, or whatever he's into, he's just massively into that one thing and nothing else at all. You had said about the gambling, you would jokingly come down and say, "Oh right, no, I need this team to win because I've got money on it, or whatever." And I'd go, "Oh, you're not gambling, are you? You'll get addicted. You'll get addicted." And we would joke about it, because you went, no, whatever. And it was literally kind of a joking thing that I would always say if you ever mentioned anything to do with, "Oh, I've got a bet on this," and I always would think, "Oh, it's like a really small one," or you were just winding me up as usual.
I didn't truly realise it at the time, but I was hooked, and I couldn't wait for my next paycheck to spend it all on gambling. And I've gone from having £0 in the bank account because I'd spent it all the month before, to getting X amount of money in the bank account, and I'd want to spend all of that on gambling. £100 in the first day gone, £100 in the next day gone, unless I won something. And because I'd had experience winning before, you're like, "Oh, I'm surely going to win at some point." I loved the thrill of winning, and that meant upping the stakes constantly. It was around this time as well that me and my mate Alex, who you've seen in many of my videos, would speak about gambling every single day.
So I downloaded Sky Bet on my birthday, the first betting account that I made.
On your birthday?
On my birthday, on my 18th. I was in Newcastle at the time. I didn't really have any intention of like frequent betting. It was just for one every now and then. And then what got me into it is I started putting, I put a couple of bets on it every now and then, like the same game multis. But then there was a Lyon versus City game, and I put a tenner on Lyon to win 2-1 in the second half. I actually didn't know what I was betting on, to be honest. I thought it was Lyon to win 2-1, but it was Lyon to win 2-1 in the second half. By some luck, it won, and I won 140 quid. Buzz was unbelievable. We weren't hooked for like a year. I'd say there was a 3-month period where we were dangerously hooked to it.
It's because the money started getting bigger, because a £5 bet didn't give you the same buzz anymore.
No.
And you especially, and me as well, but I know you especially would put multiple bets on
for
the day and be like, surely one of them will come through.
Yeah, one of them comes through and I make profit no matter what. And, none of them come through and you're chasing the losses, aren't you?
Yeah, and then you'd sign up to every single betting company there was, Ladbrokes, Sky Bet, Coral.
Yeah, take up all the deals.
Whatever.
We actually tried to start learning about betting. And actually kind of treat it as a hobby. Well, it was a hobby, but treat it as a secondary job almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, we tried to sign up to some thing to try and get money. There's a way to try and there probably is a way to try and generate it, but I don't recommend it at all. Gambling, especially online gambling, is is so different
mate.
Like if you were going to give someone a £20 note and put in it was so
Well,
easy for me to put another 20
I may
quid
as well
on.
have gone up to the owner of Sky Bet and William Hill and gone, you know, here's £1,000. It's so stupid how easy it is to deposit in comparison to withdrawal.
Yeah.
You have to go through settings to get to withdrawal.
I don't want you to withdraw it.
And
That's for sure.
deposit, it takes 2 clicks of 2 buttons. They save your card details, so you don't have to keep putting them in.
Yeah, I was constantly putting on more money when I was losing. Even if I was up money, I'd constantly want to chase my losses all the time, to the point where I'd end up losing money. I went from a point where I had 200 quid, 300 quid up, I ended up 100 quid down for the day. That led me on to casino, which finished me off. You have £5 in gambling on a gambling website, you have £10 on a gambling website, you have £50 on a gambling website, you have £100 on a gambling website. It's monopoly money in your eyes.
I was literally about to say
money.
that. It does not feel real. I think the reason you're doing this and we're doing this is to show like how dangerous it is and how easy it is just to get into that cycle. And we've experienced the early stages, I'd say, of a
we want to help people.
Yeah, for sure. Don't download a betting account. Don't make a betting account. Don't put a single bet on in your life, and you'll be a lot better for it. Trust me.
I think it was the casino that finally finished me off. With sports betting, there's a certain amount of waiting, because obviously in a football match there's 90 minutes, but casino, it's instant, and I would win big all of a sudden, and then I'd just lose that all and more. I'd try and win that money back and wouldn't win that money back, and that was just a repeated cycle. It got to the point where I was doing 100 quid blackjack hands, trying to win back money that I'd lost. That's a lot of money for me, and a lot of money for a lot of people, and it's just going like that. I lost a lot of hands, and that was the night that I quit, because I knew it was enough. I'd lost a significant amount of money. I was angry at myself, at the dealer, even though they had, it wasn't their fault, and I cried. I cried on my own at 4 o'clock in the morning, because my life revolved around gambling. I signed up to GamStop after speaking to a gambling support live chat. I instantly felt this weight off my shoulders. The next day, I told my parents, and I can't tell you how much better I felt.
I felt like there was a risk, especially given your personality, if you're getting obsessed with it. But we were talking about it all the time, about how you might get addicted or obsessed with it. So then when you said that you had, and also that you'd taken the action to stop yourself, I felt a bit stupid in a way, and a bit like, why didn't I see this? And obviously relieved, and in a sort of weird way proud that you had taken that step, but a bit guilty, and maybe embarrassed that I hadn't seen it coming, or actually that I had seen it coming and hadn't done more about it. So it was unpleasant.
I couldn't really believe that it had happened, and I suppose it made me really angry when he explained to me how they basically entice you into the gambling, like from doing an odd football bet to like going on all the casino games, and it's all just a big trap, which is terrible, really. It would, especially as it's just constantly being advertised at football matches and related to football. So all sort of vulnerable young people who would be watching football are all exposed to this constant adverts. It's just horrific, really, and I know things are trying to be done to stop that, because Daniel was really lucky, because he suddenly had this sort of moment of realisation that he was really upset one night, telling me, and thought, that's it, I'm banning myself, and then it all came out and he told us, and thought, thank goodness it happened then, because a lot of people aren't as lucky, and they lose thousands and thousands of pounds and get depressed, and all sorts of really terrible things happen.
I can't tell you how much better I feel now that I don't gamble. I can watch a game of football and not be anxious about a result. Because before, like any game of football, I had a bet on, and I was anxious throughout the whole game, couldn't enjoy it, and it's a sport that I love, and to not be able to watch it without feeling worried that a bet might not win was horrible, and to be able to enjoy football again was just so nice. If you're watching this video and you're thinking about gambling, I would encourage you not to. Some people can gamble responsibly, where they put a couple of quid on now and again, but a lot of people can't. Once you're addicted, well, you don't even think you're addicted a lot of the time, until right at the end and you look back at it all. If you're struggling, if you think you have a gambling addiction, or you think you have gambling problems, there'll be links in the description. GamStop especially was so useful for me, and for the first 1 or 2 weeks I found it difficult, and I was thinking about gambling and thinking about betting, but I couldn't. And now I don't think about gambling at all, and my life is so much better for it. Thank you all for watching this video. I appreciate it. I hope you took something from it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Take care of yourself.